My name is Melissa, and I am from Michigan, USA. I'm actually from a small town in Michigan. But I just wanted to come and chat really quick about something that has really been on my heart. So, growing up in the United States as an African American, as a black woman, in school we learn certain things about our history, you know, about particularly black history. We learn about slavery, we understand about the civil rights movement, and then there are bits and pieces of such as like inventors, black inventors, black innovators, things like that. Um, and it always seems like in our history that there was always something missing, like that we would, in our history books, there would be one chapter of black history, and black history is very much a part of American history since we were brought over here to America. And in that time of being brought over here to America, even before, we had a whole lot of history that unfortunately it's not taught in our schools, it's not taught in our society. It's just something that we never really talk about. It's almost something, as in, I don't want to necessarily say that we're necessarily ashamed of it. It's just not something that we talk about. And I believe that is the case for two major reasons. One is that we simply don't know. We simply don't know our history, our proper history. Two, we it's just not taught in our schools. And since we don't know, then families can't teach future generations, and then future generations can't teach the next generation because they simply don't know. And then this generation goes to school and they're not being taught it there. They're not being taught their history there. So it just gets kind of it gets lost through translation, through each generation that comes and that comes forth. Our history just kind of drowns out. And the reason why I've been thinking about this so heavily is because, and particularly when I used to think of the continent Africa, the narrative that was told to us here in America was that Africa is a very poor country, a very poor continent, and that Africa is just one big country. When in reality, there's several different countries within Africa. Is a pretty huge continent. But that it was that that we're in poverty, that I always see these infomercials on TV about feed the children. It always just look like they're starving children, like everyone lives in like huts, you know, like in this super impoverished kind of environment. However, however, since I have been exposed to the real Africa, my mind has been blown. My mind has been blown. What I mean by my mind has been blown is that I'm absolutely blown away by this continent of Africa, my continent of Africa, my motherland, that I had no idea, that I had very little information of. And this is where I come from. This is where my ancestors came from. And I have very little information. And now I'm learning about what Africa is really like. Africa is not this impoverished nation. Africa is not just people living in huts. Africa is not just people just starving and barely making it. Africa is a beautiful continent. Africa is filled with, I think it's over 500 languages. Africa has multiple countries with their own history and their own cultural differences and their own cultural pride and their own, you know, and their own identity. You have Ghana, you have South Africa, you have Tanzania, you have Angola, you have Nigeria, you have Niger, you have Egypt, you have all of these different countries, Kenya, Ethiopia, all of these different countries. But here in America, when you think of Africa, it's just Africa. It's just this big thing of Africa. And that is so far from the truth. And I will say that as a black woman here living in America, since my eyes have been open to the true culture of the African continent, um, I am I am on a mission now to not only discover my heritage, my ancestors, my ancestral background, and exactly where I come from and where my existence started. I also have an interest to really expose the lies about Africa. I think as Black people, ignorance is not bliss. It's not okay that we are over here in America, literally ignorant of our history, ignorant of our background, ignorant of who we truly are. We are not just African Americans, but we come from a heritage. We come from a background. We come from a rich cultural background. And it is our duty to find out about it ourselves. I understand that it was something that we were not taught in our schools, and that is so unfortunate. It's a blatant lie. It's a blatant disrespect that we give to the African continent and all the beautiful countries within Africa, with this narrative of African being such a poor country and America being this Western, super advanced, smart, intellectual, economic powerhouse, when actually Nigeria is within the top 20 economic powers in the world. But we don't talk about that. You wouldn't know that. Whenever we think of Africa, we always think of Africa as, I know for me personally, not only did I think of the narrative of just starving, kids starving, I also thought about as people who were like, that is very dangerous, that you can go in the street and that you could die, that it's very dangerous. But in reality, you guys, I mean, I plan on visiting Ghana in particular in May. And Ghana, from what I've seen, is actually such a beautiful country, such a peaceful country. And it's not at all what it is portrayed to be. Because in reality, when you think of poverty, there are super impoverished places here in America. I could show you some places in America that we probably should be on a commercial asking for help. That certain parts within Michigan, certain parts within the USA, that should be receiving recognition and aid and health aid and healthcare. So before we like to point the finger at Africa and look at Africa as something that's below us, as something that's inferior to us, I believe that it's important that we check in-house and that we check within what's going on here within America, because there's a lot of division. There's a lot of strife that is going on here just in America. And so I just wanted to do like this, I guess I can call it a PSA to my fellow Black people that are here in America, that it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to truly realize who we are, who we truly are, and who we truly come from, and to not pass on our ignorance to our future generational to our future generation, to our children. Our children should know about their history, to know about their culture, that they can pass it on to their children, so that our history does not die. So if you are standing with me, I challenge you to find out more about you. Dig deep, research, find out about the continent of Africa, so that you could know for yourself, and that so your children can grow up in the knowledge of their continent. So all of this being said, this is why I would strongly encourage everyone to check out the organization Umbrella Ghana, which this organization Umbrella Ghana is geared to really encouraging African youth and Pan-Africanists and the African diaspora to really educate themselves on African culture, African education, to really pave the path forward for our future generations, so that the culture of Africa, of Ghanaian culture, of African culture, does not die because of lack of knowledge, because of lack of information and cultural ideas being passed down from parents to their children. So I would strongly encourage you to follow. You can follow Umbrella Ghana on Instagram at Umbrella underscore Ghana. And there you'll be able to find out exactly what's going on with the organization, events that's coming up, how to be involved with the organization. And this organization is so important because despite your cultural differences, whether you are in the African diaspora or whether you are within the African continent, but in a particular different country, Umbrella Ghana is all about unifying African youth and bringing everyone together as one, so that we can change the perception and the narrative and the negative connotation that is associated with Africa, so that we can redefine who Africa really is and really pave the path forward for Africa to be seen as a powerhouse in today's world. So so please don't forget to follow Umbrella Ghana at Instagram. And you can also catch up with Umbrella Ghana on the website at www.umbrellagana.wordpress.com. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.